Thanks very much, Diane. And just, I'd like to especially thank everyone for being here, all the farmers, agronomists, industry people, the sponsors, the college, the commissions. It's just great that we can gather as the agriculture industry here once again in person and share knowledge and insight and fellowship with one another. It's just been great. And Orville Yanke was actually a good friend of my dad's, and I see Ron Svains is here as well. And a lot of these fellas are around 30 years ago, and when no-till farming was still a brand new practice on dry land. And Orville was such a friendly guy, and I'm just going to give a little background on him and then move on. But so Orville Yanke Award is a memorial award named in honor of one of Southern Alberta's earliest and most ardent soil conservation leaders. Medicine Hat farmer Orville Yanke played a pivotal role in founding both the Southern Alberta Conservation Association and the Southern Applied Research Association. The two organizations merged actually in 2012 to form Farming Smarter. Farming Smarter presents the Orville Yanke Award annually to celebrate a farmer whose contributions have significantly impacted soil conservation and extension in Southern Alberta. This year, we're proud to award this award to Laverne Gill. Laverne Gill farms on a Medicine Hat, and Laverne's generosity, quest to both acquire and share knowledge and willingness to try new things all led him to be awarded the 2002 Orville Yanke Award. Laverne grew up on a farm close to Elkwater, and he worked 26 years for the City of Medicine Hat in the computer department, while he and his wife did a bit of farming on the side. And in 2008, he retired and focused on expanding and improving his farming practice. They relocated and rented land northeast of Medicine Hat, where most neighbors were still using summer fallow. Laverne adopted a 4-year continuous cropping rotation and direct seeding practice that caught the attention of his neighbors. Early on, they could see the benefits of what they were doing, and they were able to increase their land base by renting more land. And shortly after Laverne started farming in the Cypress County, he met Farming Smarter. Ken Coles stumbled on Laverne through a partnership with Cypress County. Ag Fieldman Jason Storch wanted some research done in Cypress County, and helped Farming Smarter secure some land that Laverne actually happened to be renting, and the relationship with Farming Smarter grew from there. Laverne embraced Farming Smarter's educational opportunities and served on the board of directors. Laverne's friend and favorite agronomist, Doug Broadway, served Farming Smarter as chair, and he eventually convinced Laverne to join the board. And Doug and Laverne often traveled together over the years, and Laverne quietly and introspectively contributed some great perspectives to Farming Smarter, and I enjoyed being on the board with Laverne as well for several years. Laverne emphasizes that he was trying to become become a productive farm right from scratch. And Farming Smarter wanted to share knowledge that we were all trying to do a good job, and there's tremendous friendships and relationships built from the communities and like-minded people that want to share, grow, and keep the industry alive and in good light with the public. So Laverne mentioned that when I worked in the city, I would bring people out during harvest to see how the farm operates and try to be a liaison between the farming and the community. He would host yearly tours that brought many people to learn and share ideas. It was always amazing to see the impact that just a few people could have. Laverne's stewardship practices extend to leaving grass along the ditches and allowing slough rays to naturally regrow. And he's looking at creating habitat for raptors in hopes that they'll naturally control some of those gophers. Laverne's wife, Lana, and children, Brant, Kristen, and Garrett, are all part of the operation's success. They've all pitched in and helped out Laverne and working as a team. And Laverne's a big advocate of being able to work together, and we get more accomplished, he says. I can't say enough about how much he appreciates his family. Laverne's family was always willing to help by seeding and spraying around the plots, and this is the Farming Smarter plots, and dealing with the weeds that we left behind and letting us use his shop to work on equipment. in a drought year, they hauled water even and sprinkled the trials to try and salvage as much data as we could. The Gills, Laverne's aim was for 5% improvement on his farm every year. We'd brainstorm at the end of the year after the crops had come in and try and figure out what they could improve on, what they needed to purchase, maybe to make equipment, maybe equipment purchases, and sometimes it was other things like software or adopting different practices. When Laverne was a teen, he recalls many people were skeptical of Orville Yanke's plan for direct seeding, and not many years after, his parents actually adopted a lot of what Orville was doing. And lo and behold, here we are, 95% of the farming community is doing exactly what he pioneered at the time. So don't be afraid to try something new is the moral to that story. We've always got to try new things, and that's one of the only ways that we can really innovate, and not everything works. We've learned about that, but we just need to try new things on a small scale and work from there. Laverne is an innovator, willing to share his learning experiences to benefit others. He's always willing to lend a helping hand through good conversation, attending advocacy events, and most importantly, at the Medicine Hat site for Farming Smarter. And we'd like to thank you, Laverne, for all that you've done for Farming Smarter and for the agriculture community. Congratulations, Laverne.
Appreciate it. I do. Wow. First of all, Trevor, you think you were scared? Very scared. Not a public speaker here. I have to tell you, this morning I got up early and passed by my son's CBD oil on the cupboard and wondered how much of that stuff I would have to take to actually make a speech here and make it sound like something. So I actually have a lot of what Ryan had already said. I'm just going to go through it again because that's probably the only way I'm going to be able to get through this. I'd like to thank you, Ryan, for this presentation. And good morning, everybody. At this conference in 2019, I was here to see our bird receive this award and the fantastic presentation he had. And I thought at the time how our operation paled in comparison to what his farm was doing. When Ryan called about a month ago, he said that they wanted to give our farm the Orville Yanke Award. And my first thoughts were, we're just an ordinary farm doing what we do and trying to make improvements to that. My next thought was, I'm a terrible public speaker. How can I convince my wife to come up here and say thank you? Well, we see how that went. I remember as a teenager, we were proud of the fact we would summer fallow until the fields were weed-free, and then fall and spring winds would blow until the skies turned black, and you felt like going to bed and covering your head until they stopped. I also remember sitting around at the breakfast table, and discussions would turn to Orville and some of the farming practices he was adopting at the time. And there was skepticism about his direct seeding and how it challenged traditional farming practices. Turns out Orville was a remarkable farmer, so ahead of his time. By working with his peers and with organizations like Sarah and SACA, he truly made a difference that has changed farming forever. I recently found out that Orville's farm, southeast of Medicine Hat, was known actually as the wisdom area. It seems Orville had more wisdom than a lot of us. We actually started farming part-time in the late 80s while living and working full-time off the farm. Our rotation was 50-50, following the same practices that I had been raised with. Continuous cropping was now on the radar, and the benefits of direct seeding becoming apparent, but it was difficult for us to purchase equipment at the time as a part-time farmer. A portion of our land was continuous crop by my parents starting in 1996. And in 2004, we were finally able to purchase our own equipment and began at our current location direct seeding and with chem fallow, and not long after adopting continuous cropping. The rest is history. I was excited to implement direct seeding, straight cutting of all crops, and diversity of a crop rotation in our area. Working in the computer industry, we weren't afraid to use technology and recognize the importance of data in our farming operation. We encourage our city friends to come to the farm, and we try to be ambassadors for this great industry. Every year brings new challenges, forcing us to think outside the box for solutions that will allow us to continue to move forward. It's our intention to leave the land we farmed more productive and more diverse than when we started. In 2008, after 26 years of working for the city, or working for someone else, I decided to devote 100% of my time strictly to farming. And that was when, and it was then that I was able to attend midweek and out-of-town conferences and seminars like Farming Smarter and other organizations were putting on. I thoroughly enjoyed getting to know other farmers and industry experts all over Canada, basically networking the old-fashioned way. I would like to acknowledge, as you said, Doug Broadaway. He was our chem rep at the time and now a great friend as well. And he introduced me and encouraged me to become involved with Farming Smarter. I appreciate the information and work done by Ken Coles and his staff and all the directors. They are a talented, knowledgeable group of individuals that provide so much to the farming community. As Ryan said, I can't say enough good about my wife, my kids, for putting up with me and my ideas over the years. They were always positive and very supportive of whatever I wanted to try on the farm. And I'm truly honored to be included with the previous recipients of this award, and hope the practices we've implemented in our operation one day inspire other farmers, as Orville's operation inspired us. Thank you. I guess I made it.
You sure did. I think you can say you're a public speaker now. Just a second, Laverne here. This is one that you can keep. Ken says you can keep that big one for a little while, but he does need it back next year. Thank you, Laverne, and your family for inspiring us today and showing some of that same passion that Kim talked about this morning. And I think that that goes a long way towards getting everyone ready to go home and try for that, doing a better job on an ordinary farm, because we're all ordinary farms.